Hello, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast. A beautiful Friday. Back in the saddle, Bo Wulf, Zach Berman with a big smile on his face. Vivisection talk in the chat. What's going on there? We don't know, but we've got a lot to talk about on the show today. News on the Eagles front that Zach has a lot to say about. We have Goose Wisely as we continue to go into this Eagles-Bills matchup. We'll have our crystal ball Eagle predictions. We're going to talk a little bit about Brandon Graham, set to become set the mark for most regular season's games played in franchise history. Exciting stuff there. But Zach, everybody wants to know, I think the drama is building here. The tension is building. What are you going to sound like as you open your mouth? How are you feeling? And congratulations.
I'm doing well. Excited for the show. I don't know what you're congratulating me on. I presume it's being back on the show. You and Jamie did an awesome job on Wednesday. I was watching when I could and commented when I could, and then listened back as well. And missed you guys, missed the show. Didn't want to be Wally pipped. So here I am. I'm back. How am I feeling? I'm feeling well. I'm certainly better than I was the other day. You know, I don't say this with self-deprecation. I say this honestly. I saw the other reporters today, and they're all asking me how are you doing, and I was like, was I that bad? And they're like, oh yeah. They're like, we were worried. Yeah, they're like, we were worried about you, man. And so I was like, ooh. And I know
they all know what it takes to get you to not show up to work.
I'm afraid this is going to set up like the next few years of jokes from you. So I don't even know why I'm going this, but because you're probably going to say like I'm pumping for big pharma, but man. The medicine that I got, that stuff worked in wonders, and there's a lot coursing through my veins right now, but it has rejuvenated me and got me back to this seat where I'm ready to talk Eagles, Bills, Kelly Green week. How about that?
Well, I mean, I feel like the luster of Kelly Green week has sort of dulled a little bit. This is not the second time. It's not like I don't think we get the full Kelly Green week excitement like we did last time. It's just we'll see what the jerseys look like. That's fun. But
I think seeing those Bills jerseys and the Eagles Kelly Green jerseys, and
I'm confused about why you think I would tease you about liking the advancements of modern medicine, the steroids that you're getting, like I'm Aaron Rodgers or something like that.
I feel like you have some type of issue against Big Pharma. I don't know. I feel as if you'd find something to.
I'm very pro-vaccine. I don't understand where this is coming from.
I'm very pro everything that I got going on in my body right now. So
let's unpack that a little more. What do you have going on?
I mean, I can't even I can't pronounce. That's probably not a surprise, but I can't pronounce all this stuff that I have, but it's cleared up my illness, and it's allowed me to sleep better, breathe better, live better. So yeah, it's terrific right now.
Wow. What an endorsement.
Yes, what an endorsement. But
how was your Thanksgiving, Zach?
My Thanksgiving was great because I was with my family. Whenever I'm with them, it's good. And
unless you're at work, in which case
I didn't have quite the appetite that I might have had in years past. So probably wasn't the best from that perspective because my mom made an amazing spread, and I probably didn't indulge the way I have in other years. Although,
did we get were all the Bermans there?
Yeah, we were all together. It was great being together. Talked, a lot of football. Yeah, it was nice.
Now, do we mingle the families? Do they co-mingle, or do you go Berman's and then with Emily's side?
I'll be at Emily's side tonight.
Okay,
I can't wait to see them.
Okay, just curious.
How about your Thanksgiving? Compliments to the chef, right?
Well, no, you weren't there.
You know what I'm saying?
You just walk into a restaurant where you haven't had any food yet and say compliments to the chef.
Compliments
to the chef.
I asked how it
Or
it was.
oh, what do you do? What do you do? Oh, I'm a chef, and you just say, oh, compliments to the chef. It's not like you're supposed to appreciate the food that was cooked.
Yeah.
That's the comment.
No, I'm
It's
saying
not
the
like compliments
chef
to the
received
chef.
compliments. I imagine you're there laboring all day over the food. What was on the menu you made?
Let's see. The turkey, obviously.
Okay.
A little mashed potato casserole.
Ooh, casserole.
Yeah, so I could make the potatoes the night before and then fire it up closer to mealtime. Mac and cheese. This stuffing with sausage and oysters, and I gotta say that was the biggest disappointment to me. The oysters didn't really bring a lot to the dish. Not the time to shuck the oysters and cut them up. Not worth it, really. That's not what I'll go back to. But I will say the beets with coriander, big hit.
Beets
That
with
was
coriander.
that was one that I will go back to for sure.
Very Dwight Schrute of you.
Yes, that's your only cultural touchstone, pretty much, is The Office. So that's good.
Well,
I'm glad that something
I mean,
something went into that lane for
help
you.
me out here, Chad. If you hear beets, do you not think of Dwight Schrute?
That's fine.
Like, am I right, Tyler? Beets and Dwight Schrute are most closely associated.
If you say so.
Okay.
I would think of the Beats from Doug.
Okay, well,
Banging on a trash can.
yeah, definitely Dwight Schrute.
What else? The gravy, cranberry
There you go.
sauce.
Your beets, Battlestar Galactica.
My sister made a great sweet potatoes with marshmallows and a salad and cornbread and what am I missing? I'm missing one other thing. Oh, pearled onions. That's a Rachel request.
How about dessert?
2 pies. I didn't make the pies. Those were bought.
What kind of pies?
Pecan from Ease Grows and pumpkin from somewhere else.
Okay, that's a good that's a real good Thanksgiving.
It was good. Great to be with family.
Yeah, and then at the end of the night, were you like exhausted from all the cooking?
I would just say like standing for a long time. I'm an old man now, but I wouldn't say too exhausted. Just ready for bed at the end of the day.
Did you indulge in college football?
No.
Or I'm not college football. Did you indulge in football rather?
Yes, I was watching the first game while I was cooking. That was going on. Didn't
Lions,
watch
Packers.
as much of the other 2 games because they were such a blowout.
Okay.
How about you?
Yeah, I watched a lot of football. Egg Bowl last night. I wanted to be prepared for when Fletcher Cox comes on next week.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be I'm sure that'll be all we talk about next week when he comes on.
Well, Fletcher Cox and AJ Brown had a bet on the game, and AJ Brown won because Ole Miss won, and he's waiting for Fletcher Cox to pay up.
What was the bet?
I didn't get the specifics there.
Do you know if it is actual cash or is this like some other thing?
I didn't get the specifics there. We'll find out more.
Okay, maybe you get a little bit of work to do as a reporter.
Wow, jeez.
Get the full story.
I mean, maybe I'm not prepared to share the full story on the show. You know?
Oh,
yeah. So,
okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, compliments to the chef.
Okay.
All right, Zach. There is some Eagles news.
Yes.
That we have to talk about before we get to the matchup itself. What is that? And do your best to suppress the smile that we know is coming.
There's no smile. Derek Barnett, who had a really productive career here, first-round pick in 2017, was a part of the only Super Bowl in Eagles history, and a big part of it was on the receiving end of the fumble. That was the most famous fumble, the biggest defensive play in franchise
It is interesting
history.
timing that this is happening the
Yes.
same time as the Brandon Graham celebration.
And the week before, I think he has one of the more underrated plays in the championship game. 21. It was 14-7 in the second quarter. Minnesota was driving. They were inside the red zone, third down, and Derek Barnett has a sack,
Great
forced
point.
fumble, and then the Eagles go on and score a touchdown the next drive and never look back.
Where might one read a little bit more about that situation and that whole,
Underdogs, the Philadelphia Eagles' emotional road to Super Bowl victory. It's available wherever.
Is there a Black
books are
Friday
sold.
deal going on?
I imagine on all these bookshops.
All right,
yeah.
let's make it happen.
So I appreciate that, Bo. But Derek Barnett, whose play has leveled off in recent years and missed last year with an injury, and 2 weeks ago was a healthy scratch for the first time last week, absent for personal reasons. The Eagles are waiving Derek Barnett after 7 seasons with the team. He is now free to play elsewhere for the first time in his career.
Well, this is an interesting one where it's like, the reporting is the Eagles are waiving Derek Barnett. He's expected to get picked up right away somewhere. But like, this is also the same conversation about the Eagles are looking to trade Derek Barnett and nobody wanted to trade for him. Like, we'll see what happens. But you just sort of like, I'm happy that Derek Barnett gets a chance to have a fresh start somewhere because it's very clear that it was the end of the line here.
Yeah, I think that was really the impetus of it. I think he wanted to play football, right? And this was the whole kind of trade request, if you will, before the season was that he kind of saw what his role was going to be, and he said he wanted a bigger role somewhere. He didn't have a big role here, didn't have much production, healthy scratch.
He was very unproductive in the snaps that he got this season. It's still weird from a, like, how do the Eagles move forward standpoint. Like, Nolan Smith is still not getting snaps, and it's somebody makes a joke in the chat that they can't wait for Nolan Smith snaps to still go down somehow now that Derek Barnett's gone. But it's true. Like, at some point here, they've got to trust that guy because Josh Sweat and Hassan Reddick are playing a ton of snaps. Brandon Graham can only play so many snaps. There's no Derek Barnett as the break glass in case of emergency backup now. They need Nolan Smith to do something.
And the teams, I think they're like messaging behind the scenes, or I shouldn't even say they're messaging. I think they're thinking behind the scenes too. Was when they didn't acquire an edge rusher at the trade deadline, was that Nolan Smith would become kind of like that post deadline boost, if you will. He'd be the rookie who sees a big jump in the second half. That clearly has not happened to date. And I agree. It needs to start happening because not just because of the snaps that Hassan and Sweat are taking, but if any of those top 3 guys go down, you need to know that he can play, or you need to know what he can do. And they really haven't seen much from him. And
they don't even have like really anybody. Like Teron Jackson is the only guy on the practice squad. I would not be surprised if I don't know who's out there, but it feels like they need another body just in case.
And then the other thing they can do is move like a Milton Williams over to the edge sometimes. Even play Jalen Carter on the edge in some rushing situations. But I agree with you. This is when you do this, when you let Barnett go, because Barnett is a capable body, right? Even if he was like an unhappy player, like he's a capable body. So letting him go really puts Nolan Smith in the spotlight.
And is your understanding that this is connected to him just not wanting to be here?
That's my strong presumption. Yes.
Okay. What else is going on in Eagles world?
They were back on the practice field today. A.J. Brown, you might have seen him on the injury report with a thigh injury. I asked him about that thigh injury. He's going to be fine. It's just something he's dealing with. You can say it happened in the game. I'm not quite sure what he meant by that, but someone said did it happen in the game, and he said you can say that.
Weird.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure when else this thigh injury occurred, but
on the plane, who knows?
I don't know. And then Milton Williams, watch out for this. He's in the concussion protocol, so I wouldn't expect him to be able to play.
One less day to clear it.
Exactly. So those are kind of the big injury notes. The Sirianni press conference today, there was not much there as far as hard news. The 2 big topics were Brandon Graham, which we'll get to, and then his kind of coaching demeanor and why he is the way he is on the sideline, and more kind of after the win. That video came out of him in the tunnel with Chiefs fans, and Nick Sirianni likes to gloat, and hey, when you win, there's ample time to gloat.
That's true. I think it's all connected to him. It's authentic, right?
Yes, and that's why I'm not bothered by it, because like he's being who he is, and I would never want to like take away someone's personality. Now that you can harness it if it's negative, or there's things you can do about it, but yeah, I think he's his authentic self, and I think those around him respect the fact that he's his authentic self. And I know the devil's advocate argument could be, well, if they start losing, it'll wear quickly. It'll wear on people quickly. They don't lose very much. So
yeah, he's also not going to be gloating when they're losing.
He'll be gracious in defeat. And then there's also this argument that teams see this and it'll give them motivation. Like they'll be annoyed by him. The one thing I can say, and Nick Sirianni alluded to this today, I can say this with like fairly 100% confidence. And I've never been a pro athlete. We have one on with us Tuesdays. Perhaps we can ask him. But and you probably are closer to the pro athlete mindset than I am.
Okay.
But these guys don't need any like motivation. Like they can. You saw in the Michael Jordan doc, like they manufacture motivation. I saw something going around yesterday. There was like a fake Twitter quote from Amon St. Brown that he didn't know anyone on the Packers defense. Like, and he didn't actually say it. Someone just like put it out there. And then on Jordan Love's way to the press conference, one of the assistant coaches was like, "Ask if 14 knows any of our guys now." Like these guys have no shortage of finding motivation. If Nick Sirianni was a robot on the sideline, they'd still find a way to be opponents would still find motivation.
Well, there's also like it could work the other way. Maybe they're like too angry and that gets them to miss an assignment or something like that. There's no way to untangle that. It's impossible.
In your days as a standout high school baseball player, did you like find things to motivate you? You know, the opposing pitcher said this in the local newspaper.
No, it's something they said, but yeah, I mean, I would if like the way that they act, absolutely. You gotta take something.
Yeah. All right. So you can kind of put yourself in the mindset of a pro athlete in that regard.
I mean, I feel like you're mocking me to some degree here, but
there's no mocking.
I understand the point that you're making.
There's no mocking. I, on the other hand, I was on a really good team and did not play very much. There would like. My motivation would be to chase that foul ball that went into the bushes a little faster. Okay, so among the two of us, I'll defer to you. And I just saw you smoke someone smoke someone in ping pong. So you have quite the.
Still haven't lost a righty in the PHLY studios yet, but my time will come. Zach, speaking of authenticity, I know that there is a sponsor of ours that you are authentically a big fan of.
Yeah, I am authentically a big fan of Wheelhouse.
Here you go.
A matter of fact,
I
got it here. I will be at Wheelhouse tomorrow. I've already planned the morning with my kids, and I will not be sick this time because Wheelhouse is the go-to sports cards, gift and apparel shop in the Delaware Valley. In the Delaware Valley, their motto is "Cards and Community" because love of sports unites us all. They carry all of your favorite card brands like Topps, Chrome, baseball, and Mosaic football, as well as T-shirts, hats, and hoodies from brands like Mitchell & Ness, 47 brand junk food, Starter, and Shibe Vintage Sports. If you're looking to grade your sports card collection, Wheelhouse offers PSA grading submissions. They also host tons of different family-friendly events and birthday parties every month. Stop in to either of their stores in Wayne or Westchester, open 7 days a week at 11 a.m., which is around the time I might be there tomorrow. Use code PHLY and get $10 off any purchase of $25 or more in store. Also, be sure to follow them on Instagram at Wheelhouse Cards.
We've also got, just so you know, a big deal on the PHLY locker today for Black Friday. 25% off. You can get this sweatshirt that I am wearing today. And even better, we have a bunch of brand new merch that has just dropped. Eagles-wise, 5 new different designs. You got a Fletcher Cox, you got a Sickos shirt, you got a Baby Rhino shirt, and a couple Philly-specific shirts. Love that Kelly Green. All good stuff. So the PHLY locker, today is the day to make yourself look a little bit more like Bo and Zach, which we're all trying to do in our own way.
So as the show has happened, the Eagles officially waived Derek Barnett.
Okay.
And they released a statement as well. The Eagles organization would like to thank Derek for his contributions to this team over the last 7 seasons. As a rookie, Derek made one of the most memorable plays in our Super Bowl victory over the Patriots. He has been a great teammate who always played with high energy and effort. We wish Derek nothing but the best. Curious your thoughts here, Bo.
I mean, I guess that's the right statement. I just don't think they even needed a statement necessarily if you're just going to whack a guy. But
yeah,
like,
they typically don't put out.
If for an in-season releasing,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's fine. I'm not going to kill him for it.
I always err on the side of class.
That's debatable.
Oh,
always.
Let's unpack
I'm
that
just
one,
saying,
Bo.
always. I don't,
When have I been unclassy?
I don't think we need to get into this now.
Oh, jeez. Someone's going to keep me up at night. Okay.
Speaking of classy, Zach, let's talk about Brandon Graham, because you wrote about him, which you can read today on allphly.com. It is remarkable how far he has come since he was a rookie, since the first 3-4 years of his career, when all the conversation about Brandon Graham was, why isn't he Earl Thomas or Jason Pierre-Paul? And now he is set to set the regular season mark for games played. He does still trail David Akers in like if you include playoff games. He's going to have to get all the way to the Super Bowl this year if he's going to take that mantle.
And they probably should include playoff games for most games played.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah.
But
most regular
But
season
he
games
has
played.
surpassed Akers in seasons played, and he has now tied Bednarik in seasons played.
Yeah, Bednarik's probably pretty pissed off that he didn't get the 17-game seasons in there, right?
Yeah, I think he's probably pissed off about a lot of things.
Yes.
Wherever he is.
Well, we don't need to go there. Sorry. So, yeah, Brandon Graham. The way you outlined it there is important. 10 years ago, this would have seemed improbable, almost impossible. Like, it's not hyperbole to say this, because Brandon Graham has said this. He didn't think he was going to make the team in 2014. He thought Travis Long was going to make it over him. And we thought in the media, Travis Long was going to make it over him. Travis Long tears his ACL in the preseason finale. Brandon Graham makes the team, goes on, has a good run that year, re-signs with the Eagles, becomes a starter, and the rest is history. But as I wrote today on All PHLY, and I believe this, he, first off, like an awesome football player. You don't last 14 years and nearly 200 games unless you're a really good player. And he's gotten to the quarterback consistently throughout his career. He's been real strong against the run. In Jim Schwartz's defense, he was real good. And he can move into the interior. I don't want that to be lost in and he's a better guy, But I think a part of him lasting this long, I wrote this and I spoke to him about it today, is his attitude, is the fact that he's the kind of guy you want to have in your locker room. He's the kind of guy who these are monotonous days in training camp, in the season, in the off season, whenever it may be. And Brandon Graham's there every day with a smile and a laugh. Like, he's not just sticking to himself in the locker room. He's talking to everybody, and not just the guys who've been with him for a decade, but newcomers who come in. He gets to know so many different guys. And I think it showed, he spoke last year about good juju, about having this good juju, bringing it every day. And he said today, no one wants to work with an a-hole. And I thought that was a pretty good way of putting it. He said you want to be someone that people want to work with. And I think people want to work with Brandon Graham.
Yeah, I think so.
I frame it, and I wrote this, and I've written it I've written in the past as well, that there are energy givers and energy takers. There are people who sap the room of energy, and there are people who bring energy to the room. And try to surround yourself with people who bring energy to the room, bring enthusiasm to the room. I think it makes for a better room.
Is it fair to say that you see yourself in Brandon Graham?
Well, I don't see myself in Brandon Graham, but I see look, that's a personal opinion. That's something I feel strongly about, and I see it in Brandon Graham. That's probably why I convey that point, as opposed to the way he rushes from the interior, let's say. Okay. because I that attribute's one that I personally take a lot of pride in. And it's something I need to remind myself if I'm ever, I mean, there are invariably days when like you're pissed off about work or something's going on at home or whatever it may be. And then if I feel like I'm dragging, I try to snap myself. I'm like, no, you need to bring the energy to the room. You need to have a good attitude. You're always in control of your attitude. And that's the way Brandon Graham sees it.
Well, you quoted him. He said the thing about faking it till you make it, right? And even if he doesn't feel it, he's got to sort of force himself to do it.
Yeah. And I feel very strongly in that. So twice, it'd be pompous to say I see myself in Brandon Graham, but I think...
I don't think that's pompous. You recognize something of yourself in him.
I recognize a value that I try, or an attribute that I try to maintain, that I see that has served him really well for a long time. Yes.
Okay. I think all of that is true, but you're also right what you said. Like, if he was playing like Derek Barnett, he would not be here just because of that attitude. Fletcher Cox doesn't have quite the same attitude. He's been here almost just as long, and he's been a better player. Right?
And Britton Covey has that attitude, and I don't think he'll be here for 14 years. So.
Although if he keeps returning like he's been returning the last couple of weeks, he might be. He's been really good. Okay. I think that's a nice.
What's your? I mean, I don't want to monopolize this. You know Brandon Graham well. What's your best Brandon Graham story?
I don't know that I have a best Brandon Graham story, but I remember the day that he was drafted, and like people have told this story before, but he comes in and he's shaking everybody's hand, and it's like this guy's got this boyish enthusiasm, and he's really trying to like act the part, and there is the inclination, I think, to be like, oh, and I remember saying this about Zach Ertz to a different degree, but Philly's going to beat that out of him, right? Like he's not going to keep that. And here we are 14 years later, and he's still the same guy.
Now, you also have the perspective of you spent time with his family last year during a game. Is this how he always is? Like, is it a show, or is this how he is all the time?
Well, he wasn't there until the very end of that day, but I think it is. And I think they would all tell you that's, maybe Carlene is like, it can be a little much sometimes. Like there are probably situations where you don't need all of that energy, but just like seeing him with everybody after that game, I think that is my favorite part of what he was talking about after that game was, remember, that was the game. It was that Saints game from last year. Josh Sweat suffers the scary injury, which meant that Brandon Graham had to play a lot more.
Okay.
And he's like, I am tired. Like, he was like on the sideline, he's like just totally sucking wind because he was like playing way more than he was expecting to play, but still giving it his all. So
yeah, I was at I said this the other day that he appeared at Hope's Cookies in Villanova for Phil Abundance, where he was like scooping ice cream and
he gave you a classic locker room's clothes.
Yes, but it was just interesting getting there, and you see like this is a Friday night and there's this line around the block. Like it is a really long line before he's even due to show up. And knowing Brandon, I'm just like, oh my God, this is never going to end, because he's just going to talk to everybody. And that's exactly what happened. And he was like, he made every single person there feel like the most important person in the room. And that's like, that's a quality Brandon Graham has.
Well, if you want to be there on Sunday to watch Brandon Graham set this record, and you don't have tickets yet, you still got a shot. You can go to Game Time, because buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you, with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. They've got flash deals and last-minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Images of seat views, lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, all that good stuff. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. As we talked about, you get those images of the seat views. You buy tickets in a matter of seconds.
2 taps.
2 taps, and you're set. Tickets are sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem with code PHLY for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Why does the MacBook, like, I set it to be at the highest brightness. I want it to stay at the highest brightness. Why does it keep creeping down just because I haven't adjusted it recently?
Well, if you want to know,
It's probably trying to save my eyes, right? That's the idea. But I want it like this. This is how I want it right now.
So I think they've scaled back the touch bar, actually.
Okay.
So you're one of you can't get the touch bar right now.
Okay.
And I think it might be related to the touch bar.
Oh.
Either that, or if you have,
it's not a settings thing.
Oh well, there could be a settings thing where it adjusted the light.
Okay.
And they have the true tone and things like that. I mean,
I find myself having to do this too often, where it has crept down to like the middle brightness. And I'm sorry, I want it.
You want it
I
bright?
want the full brightness. I got like lights blaring in my eyes here. I need to see. Tim Cook.
Oh, come on.
Compliments to the chef.
I mean, definitely compliments to the chef there. I love their products, so compliments to the chef.
Well, you love all technology.
Yeah, I mean, guilty as charged. I believe in technology.
I mean, you got to be a little bit more discerning than that.
The newer technology, the better. I
what
like.
A terrible position.
What's that? That's a terrible position.
Just it's new. It must be better.
No, I like to try all different types of new technology, and
Okay.
The advancements are incredible. It will behoove me to take advantage of them. Like if you pick up, if you go back to your life 10 years ago and you use some of the tech from 10 years ago, you'd be appalled. At like the performance, the memory space,
Sure.
Yeah. So I am an advocate of when there's refreshes in computers and refreshes in phones and
Okay, that's fine.
and refresh. Yeah. You tease me, and I hope I'm not.
I'm just saying
Tyler's
my
wife
only
about like about like the fitness technology. But yeah, I like having data from my body. I like having data from the more data, the more technology, I think is a good thing.
I'm with you on most of that.
Okay.
It's just the full trust in all technology that I'm worried for you.
Like I can tell you how I'm feeling based on what my heart rate was at night. What my
Do you think there's any connection there though, where it's like it's telling you you're feeling this, so you then feel it that way?
Oh no,
because otherwise you could be able to fake it till you make it.
Well, yeah, you try faking it, but this is science. This is data. Like, you're basically being like the guy who's like run the ball on.
That's not true.
Yeah, and I'm
That's
like, well, the data's
Don't
saying
make a
this.
false analogy.
The data's saying this, so let's abide by that.
Okay, we haven't talked enough Bills matchup. I feel
Yeah,
like
I agree.
We could spend the rest of the show here
because I didn't get the good fortune of being on Wednesday's show, so I really want to talk about this Bills team because I think this is gonna be a real tough game for the Eagles.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, it's not quite the same team since the injury to Matt Milano. I mean, that really hurt them.
Yeah, their defense is struggling at the moment.
Yeah. I think, though, Josh Allen, and you guys talked about this, like what he can do in terms of second effort plays, extending plays, buying time, makes them dangerous. Diggs is as good a receiver as they'll see other than Tyreek Hill this season and Justin Jefferson, okay? But A.J. Brown said today he's a top 5 receiver. Dalton Kincaid in recent weeks has really given them a boost, and he's not even playing like a tight end. He's playing almost like a big slot for them, and that's going to be an interesting matchup. We saw the Eagles play well against Kelce last week. Well, who was Kincaid compared to in the draft process? Travis Kelce. Their offensive line is strong. Actually, on the All NFL show today. It's Hassan Reddick and Deion Dawkins. Is
6 o'clock today.
Yes. So if you love Temple football, if you love NFL football, check that out. But it's a good roster that they fired Ken Dorsey, even though their advanced metrics were pretty good. But they were obviously looking for a change. They go to Joe Brady. Interestingly, in the 2021 coaching search, Joe Brady was the first coach the Eagles interviewed during that search. Imagine what could have been. Tough time for Joe Brady since then. Fired midseason by Matt Rule. Shout out to Temple football. He lands with Buffalo last year. He was the quarterback's coach. I frankly thought he was going to be like a dark horse candidate for the Penn State OC job. And I pointed this way because our producer Tyler is a Penn State fan, but gets elevated to interim offensive coordinator. Won his first week. We'll see what happens this week against the Eagles. This is a big spot for them. So I really like this Bills offense. I think when you look at their point differential this season, it shows they can be a real dangerous team. Point differential last season the same way. I think the Eagles can exploit their corners. That's where they're weak, and they've been banged up there. But they have a lot of experience there, of course, at safety with Poyer and with Hyde. I heard Jalen Hurts' answer the other day when he said like 2 decades worth of experience there, and that is what they present. Your boy Rasul Douglas, midseason acquisition for them. But I like their defensive front, and we'll get to that too. Well, and you guys did the draft the other day, but between Von Miller and Ed Oliver's always been a favorite of mine, and you and I had a number of and Sheil Kapadia had a number of debates in the draft 2 years ago about Gregory Rousseau, and he was a guy who I liked.
I liked Gregory Rousseau
because I like the upside. I like the sack production. So there's
you say that like I've been like. It's always been on my mind that you like Gregory Rousseau. Like that's a conversation we've had a million times.
That's not what I'm saying, but
I liked Gregory Rousseau too.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta go back and look at our rankings.
Okay.
If memory serves, well,
I liked Gregory Rousseau.
Okay.
Good production. Young player. Yeah.
Good production. Very young player. Great story too. A nice frame.
You covered almost everybody except, of course, the biggest storyline in this game is the Ryan Bates revenge game.
Oh, why don't you, in case our audience...
got a pop from Penn State Tyler on Ryan Bates.
Yes. Tough trade in Eagles history.
Yeah.
Eli Harold did not pan out.
Yeah, I think that'll be like, when Howie Roseman is getting enshrined into Canton, Please welcome Howie Roseman, 2-time Super Bowl winning general manager.
Oh, he's not winning again?
Who once traded away. Well, one more. I'm giving him one more. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Howie, you hear that?
General manager, yeah. Who once traded away Ryan Bates for Eli Harold.
It's true. But once.
And who once released Casey Toohill.
Yeah, who made a play yesterday. But also once traded Duke Riley for
for Jonathan Cyprien. No, traded Jonathan Cyprien for Duke Riley and got compensation for it. And who once traded Bruce Hector for Rudy Ford and then brought back Bruce Hector a week later.
Yes,
a true buy one get one free.
A true buy one get one free. Yeah, when he gets elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, these are the trades they're going to discuss. Not AJ Brown for a first.
I think so.
Yeah, these are the trades they're going to discuss.
These are the ones I would love to just have like a very long, like
esoteric.
how did these trades get made? Yeah, he gets asked about all the other stuff. This stuff is interesting.
That's true. That'd be a good story to pursue.
Okay. Shout out! I forgot in the rundown of the Thanksgiving menu. Shout out to Abby who made the artichoke dip for the appetizer. Delicious.
I like an artichoke dip.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Classic Sealer recipe.
Classic what recipe?
That's her maiden name.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And John, who brought the cheese.
Okay.
John told me to say hi to you, by the way.
What's up, John? Yeah. Big John fan.
Compliments to the chef.
Yeah. Actually, I want to give a shout out to Will, who I met in the airport the other night.
And he saw you at your worst.
Yeah, although he didn't know, I feel bad. But
poor guy's got pneumonia somewhere.
No, I was. Will was so nice, and I couldn't meet him before the game. But we were exchanging emails. And
wait, was this on the way to Kansas City?
Yeah, the way to Kansas City.
So I said at your worst because it was also this 6 a.m. plus.
Okay. No. I met him in the Philly airport, and he listens to all our shows. He as nice as could be. We had a nice conversation, but then he emailed me and he wanted to say that you're a true comedian. So I thought you would appreciate that. I'm giving the I hope I'm not speaking out of turn.
It balances out the Leno conversation a little bit.
Yeah. That one really got under your skin.
It did.
I checked out our iTunes comments. People like that conversation. People like that though.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Very quickly before we get back to the Bills, we should just say, because we didn't talk about it at the top, the loss from the Lions yesterday now gives the Eagles a 2-game cushion in the NFC. Now, the Cowboys and Niners continue to roll a little bit, and they're moving up that point differential, but the Eagles now have at least can lose 1 game without having to worry about tiebreakers for the 1 seed.
Correct. Now, if you lose, they can lose 1 game and not worry about tiebreakers. If they were to lose this weekend, next weekend's game becomes like huge.
Sure does.
But no, the probability that the Eagles finish with the number 1 seed is very high right now. And they're in the driver's seat there. I can't imagine that. It will take a lot for them to really stumble here.
Okay. All right. Let's get into Goose Wisely as we continue to talk about this matchup. Now, we have not yet talked about last week's Goose Wisely, Zach, because of all the things that were going on last week. I'll very quickly go through this. You had James Bradbury plays at least 10 snaps in the slot or in coverage of Travis Kelce. That did not happen. I had Eli Ricks out snaps Bradley Roby. That did not happen. You had a team stop short of the end zone to bleed clock at the end of the game. That did not happen. I had Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat both record at least a half a sack. If the league counted a sack on Patrick Mahomes on the intentional grounding, I would have hit that. So you could argue that I deserve that, but I will not take it. I'm purely calling balls and strikes here like any good referee would. No points for me. You had A.J. Brown as the game's leading wide receiver. Did not happen. I had Patrick Mahomes outrushes Jalen Hurts. This was a golden egg. I did get that, so that was 2 points for me. You had DeAndre Swift has more total yards from scrimmage than Travis Kelce. Nailed it. I had Travis Kelce scores at least 2 touchdowns, 2-1. You had a member of the Taylor Swift family wears an Eagles jersey. Didn't happen. I had an Eagles tight end catches a touchdown. Didn't happen. You had Patrick Mahomes has a season high in passing yards. Did not happen. I had Jalen Hurts has a season high in rushing yards. Did not happen. You had the Eagles win the game. You nailed it. That's 2 for you. I had the Chiefs win the game by 9 points or more. You had ESPN shows a clip of Nick Sirianni with tears in his eyes during the game broadcast. They showed this clip in the pregame show, and
which is part of the game broadcast.
We clarified that this was we clarified in the discussion that this was during the game, and during the game they showed an image of him crying coming in and out of a break. But you said very clearly shows a clip, and so unfortunately I cannot count that.
Seriously?
And I had Joe Buck makes multiple Taylor Swift song references, so that's a 2-2 tie. So do you want to play it like a skins game where this week is now worth 2, or do you want to just take a half point? I'll let you decide.
I actually think the chat's probably outraged that I missed out on the crying point.
I don't see how that's any different than the Josh Sweat sack. These are technicalities based on the
Josh
way
Sweat
that the thing was
didn't
written.
Get a sack.
Okay, and they literally didn't show a clip of Nick Sirianni crying during the game broadcast.
Yeah, they showed an image of him crying in the game broadcast.
Shows a clip. Okay. That's not a clip.
Okay. All right.
You know, if they had talked about it, would that have counted? No.
Okay.
It's the same. That is what you proposed.
Okay. But I adhere to the letter of the law. We will follow the letter of the law. So I just want, in a 55 zone, Bo would never go 56. Okay.
Well, I know you go way faster than that. I've driven with you before.
You think I'm a fast driver?
I think they call you Leadfoot Berman for a reason.
There's no one who's ever called me, ever. And the criticism, Emily's actually watching this show, and she probably spit out her coffee when you said that. I am definitely not a fast driver.
Okay.
She wants me to drive faster. So, yeah, I am not a fast driver whatsoever. No, I'm not going below the speed limit, but
okay.
If they give you that 9 mile per hour cushion, I'm taking the 9 mile per hour cushion.
Even in a 15?
Well, no, 15 is typically a school zone. So, yeah, no, school zone.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very careful about school
Do you
zone.
want this to be worth 2 this week? The score on the year is 6-2. This could be a chance for you to make up
I want
ground.
this to be worth 2.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it that way. So,
Thank you, Khalif. Zach robbed again.
Yeah, I mean,
long-time listener. He knows.
Just you should have said it. You should have clarified it differently then.
Look.
That's not the thing that you proposed. All right, I will go first. My first proposition for you, and if you're joining us for the first time, what a weird time to join us for the first time on the day after Thanksgiving. But Zach and I are going to propose 8 different things that could happen in this game with relatively equal likelihood, and the other person decides which they think is more likely. The other person gets the one that they didn't choose. So I will go first. Let me pull it up here. My first one for you, Zach, is Julio Jones out-touches Boston Scott, or Gabe Davis has a catch of at least 15 yards.
I'm going.
Do you think that Julio Jones is I know we've had the Julio Jones conversation before, but having watched last week, do you think he's like entrenched as the number 3 receiver here with Quez Watkins potentially returning? They activated his 21-day window.
Yes. I think there's a reason Julio Jones is on this roster, and it's not to collect dust on the sideline. He's going to be in the mix. Now, I don't think it's going to be like entrenched in terms of maybe not to the degree that Quez was last year, but I think he will take the most snaps between Quez, Olamide, and him.
Okay, but Julio Jones has played 4 games this year. He hasn't topped 10 yards receiving yet.
Well, the attention that he's commanding from defenses.
Oh yeah, that's
no. I mean,
look,
look,
AJ Brown wins Offensive Player of the Year this year, and the first thing he says is, "Thank God for Julio Jones attracting all that attention from the defenses when he had 35 yards receiving."
Well, he'll literally say, "Thank God for Julio Jones."
You see, this thing has still creeped. The brightness is back in the middle again.
Right.
I just did this. Was 10 minutes ago.
He would literally say he would not be an NFL player right now if not for Julio Jones. So actually, he might thank Julio Jones instead.
Okay, so then the Eagles should actually have Calvin Johnson on the roster too, and then before they should have Randy Moss, and then they should also have Jerry Rice on the practice squad. Harold Carmichael, welcome back. You're on the team again. Like you can't just keep pushing the lineage back.
So now snaps doesn't necessarily lead to touches, right? So the reason why I don't think you've seen his production is because he's especially when Goedert was healthy, he was the 5th option in the passing game, right?
I think the reason you haven't seen the production is because his legs are toast.
Okay, well, perhaps it's that. But then why are they playing? They're playing him over Olamide, and you think when Quez is back, they're going to want that speed on the field?
I don't know. I don't think that they're going to. No, I don't think that Quez Watkins is going to all of a sudden come in and be playing 75% of the snaps. I don't. But I just. This idea that Julio Jones is like adding this crazy dynamic to the offense has absolutely no support to it statistically.
No, he's not adding a crazy dynamic to the offense. But I think that the upside's there, and I think certainly
I don't think that the upside is there.
Okay,
I think there's great vibes with him being there, right? And they love to have him in the room. That's awesome. The upside to me is like he can be a red zone threat. A little bit,
yeah,
and maybe,
and he's a good blocker.
And like, if he were to have a 40-yard game, that would be a celebration.
So to answer the question, I am going to go with Gabe Davis, 15 plus yards. Even though he did not have a target last week, I believe he is he is a big play threat for them. We've seen that this season. We obviously saw that in that Bills-Chiefs playoff game a few years ago. He's been inconsistent, but I'm not convinced that Julio Jones is going to get a lot of touches. There's a chance Boston Scott could get 4 or 5 touches a game. So I feel more comfortable going with Gabe Davis in the 15 play. I think if Gabe Davis makes a catch or is a factor in this game, it's with a big play.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Okay, good choice. Up to you.
Up to me here, and I enjoy doing these. So my first one here is Josh Allen has more total yards than Jalen Hurts, or Jalen Hurts has more yards per carry than Josh Allen.
This one is easy to me because Jalen Hurts' yards per carry is they go down because of the tush pushes, right?
Yes.
So I'm taking Josh Allen has more total yards than Jalen Hurts. The only way that this doesn't happen is if the Eagles aren't in position to have a lot of brotherly shoves. So I will take Josh Allen. Was it total yards?
Yeah, total yards. So rushing yards plus passing yards.
Okay. Write that down.
So for the season, Josh Allen is averaging, I thought I had that up here, but it was around, Jalen Hurts was around like 3-something yards per carry, and Josh Allen was a little bit more. Here, I have it here. Jalen Hurts is 3.5 yards per carry rushing the ball this season, and Josh Allen rushing the ball this season is in the it's in the 4s, and he's pushed higher there. So
okay,
that I can see you going there now. Now Josh Allen also has the chance of having a big passing game, and
right.
So I probably would have done the same thing. Josh Allen's 4.9 yards per carry.
Okay. All right. I have AJ Epinesa, the girl from Epinesa, out-sacks Brandon Graham in this game, or Jalen Carter out-sacks Ed Oliver.
This is a tough one here because Brandon Graham has not been like a prolific sack producer, and the Bills aren't giving up that many sacks this year. And the Bills get a lot of sacks. I'm a big Ed Oliver guy, but man, Jalen Carter, and I saw Baldy's clips the other day, Jalen Carter is just getting to the quarterback. But Ed Oliver already has a career-high 6 sacks this season.
Now, K11 in the chat says he just went to watch last week's Goose Wisely, and the exact wording was ESPN shows the crying Nick Sirianni video, not play the crying Nick Sirianni video. A still image of the Sirianni video was shown. I say, Zach, at the point, that's wrong. It says video. Shows the video, not an image. They didn't show the video. The video is not a picture.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. We have to be pedantic. That's the only way to judge this.
There has never been a more Bo Wulf sentence than I'm sorry we have to be pedantic. Like that explains true. Bo Wulf right there. So I'm sorry, Tyler, can you just put that on the screen again? I just want to review my options, but I'm leaning toward
Epinesa out-sacks Brandon Graham or Jalen Carter out-sacks Ed Oliver.
Yeah. You know what? This is Brandon Graham's day. I'm not going to pick against Brandon Graham here. So let's go Jalen Carter out-sacks Ed Oliver.
Okay, I think that's good. You talked about the Bills' offensive line. I think you're a little higher on that O-line than I am.
Okay.
Their sack rate is low, but I sort of give that credit to Josh Allen.
It's hard to take down.
I think they can be had. I think any of those guys can be had. Especially, I think the biggest advantage for the Eagles is probably Hassan Reddick against Spencer Jones at right tackle. I think those were tough. I think you could take either one of those, but I respect you not betting against Brandon Graham on Brandon Graham's day.
So the Bills register 4+ sacks, or the Eagles register 4+ sacks. Now, the Bills are a prolific sack-producing team, but like we discussed, the Eagles could, Spencer Jones in particular, I agree. You're talking about, a 6'9" offensive lineman. Hassan Reddick has that leverage, can get low, can get around him. I do like that matchup. I'm glad you brought that back.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts is not getting sacked a ton either. So this is tough. I'm going to take... I guess I'll take the Eagles, but I don't feel great about that. Which one would you have taken?
I probably would have taken the Bills.
Okay. Well,
Eagles allowed 5 sacks last week against a defense that's structured similarly. Something you've heard a lot.
You think it's a revenge game for Sean McDermott?
Well, I think Sean McDermott, I think it's a personal game for Sean McDermott. Coming back to Philly, a team that fired him, right? A team that did not even interview him after he was the defensive coordinator for a 15-1 club. I think this is one that...
Parted ways with his brother?
Yeah, they parted ways with his brother. And look, Sean McDermott's been... he's getting more criticism than he has in the past. I think a game in his hometown against the team that he kind of grew up following, that he worked for, that he started his career for. Yeah, I think this is personal. And it's actually interesting for Nick Sirianni too. he's expecting all his, he's expecting Jamestown to be rooting for the Bills. And he has a lot of friends who are Bills fans. And he looked into the camera today and he told them, you guys didn't play sports and go to high school with Sean McDermott. You went with me, right? So now the interesting thing is Sean McDermott has a lot of friends.
Right, like all of us.
Yeah,
you can't have that one both ways.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of interesting.
Okay. For you, I have Josh Allen either runs through or jumps over an Eagles defender in this game, or Jalen Hurts scores a non-sneak rushing touchdown.
I like both of these happening, actually. But of these two, I'll go with my problem with this here.
Well, runs through is difficult to define.
Yes,
so
that's what I was going to say.
So let's define it now. Let's define it now. This is not like he breaks a tackle where a guy's like hanging onto his leg and he's able to sort of squirm free. This is like he trucks over a guy.
Okay.
And is able to then keep going. It's not like that doesn't bring him down. You know, I think that's understood. Or he jumps over a guy.
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts non-sneak rushing touchdown. We saw it last week. I think, you get the second and goal from the 6, and he drops back and then rushes through the open lane.
Yeah, I think that's the right pick. Do you think that the Jalen leaning into him being a runner and him looking as good as he did athletically last week, do you think that continues? Do you think they're worried about that?
No.
I asked Nick about that at the press conference on Wednesday, and he was just sort of like, yeah, I mean, we see what he's like during the week, and we build the game plan accordingly.
Yeah, I think we think about that more than – I think a lot of the running stuff's instinctive for Jalen Hurts. So it's a matter of if he wants to be a runner on that given day. I think a lot of what we would call the design runs are like the RPRs, where he has the option to run, but there's also the handoff, the pass, or him hold on to it. So I will, I still think you're going to see him lean into the run, but I think it's going to be at his pace and not anyone else's.
Okay, over to you.
DeAndre Swift totals 113 scrimmage yards. Obviously, exceeds it is a possibility too. So if he and that 113, I've tried to incorporate relevant numbers into this game. That would allow him to reach 1,000 this season.
Oh, okay.
1,000 yards from scrimmage, not 1,000.
Ooh, I love this. This is we're now in peak ZB reaching for milestone season. Okay. This is great.
Or Devontae.
I had forgotten about this.
Or Devontae Smith finishes between 93 and 99 receiving yards, and because if you're in that range, then it's like you could have had. I think he said the other day.
He'd rather have 98.
He would rather have 98 than 99. Yeah,
because he's had 2 now in the past 3 games.
And it would be a little too if I just had him finishing at 99, it'd be a little too harder to hit. But I think that 93 to 98 range is or 93 to 99 range is a fun one.
I'll take Swift. It's too specific for Devontae for me. So I'll take Swift goes to 113 and gets to 1,000, and that's total yards.
Total yards from scrimmage. Yep.
Okay. Devontae 93 to 91. To 99. All right, my last one for you. I love a Bills type deal. Like the Buffalo Bills. But I do now. You got, who's your favorite Bill?
Who's my favorite Bill? Yeah. I would go with I went to high school with Billy Moreno, so
that's a Billy, and not anybody that enough people are going to know. Who's your famous Bill? Your favorite famous Bill?
Bill Cartwright.
Bill Cartwright. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. You did a good job avoiding a couple landmines there.
Why? Bill Clinton. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of presidential politics, or presidential history.
Okay. Big Epstein guy over here.
All right. I don't know how you conflate the two, but okay.
Okay. Zach vacationing at Little St. James.
Okay.
I thought you might say. I was thinking you might say Cosby, but. You did a good job avoiding that one.
Yeah.
Clinton and Cosby, the two classic problematic Bills.
Okay.
But there is one other Bill in the NFL who is a head coach. That's Bill Belichick. And so the proposal here for you is that Bill Belichick and the Buffalo Bills have the same result on Sunday. So the Patriots are playing at the Giants.
Okay.
Okay, so they both have to do the exact same thing. Or there is a point in this game when a catch or a non-catch is overturned upon review.
This is a hard one here. So I think the Bills are going to beat the Giants. I think the Patriots are going to beat the Giants, but I'll get to my Eagles prediction in a bit. But the catch, non-catch. So you know what? I'm just going to go with the Bills one because, look, maybe the Giants win, maybe the Bills upset. There's just the catch, non-catch is so hard to figure out. So I'm good. I'll go with Bills.
Yeah, I think statistically that's a better decision for you.
Okay. So here's mine, and I like to incorporate the other big games from this weekend. Which is higher, the total points in the Eagles-Bills game or the total points in the Michigan-Ohio State game? Their over-unders are very similar.
Okay. What's your pick for the? Give me like the 90-second breakdown of the Michigan-Ohio State game.
Okay, so Michigan's playing without their head coach. These past 2 years, though, they've owned Ohio State. They've been tougher than them. Michigan's been outstanding this year. Ohio State has also been really good this year. Ohio State.
Both teams are undefeated?
Yeah, Ohio State has Marvin Harrison Jr., who, in my opinion, is the best overall player in college football this year. I think Michigan has, their defense has been awesome. Their offensive line controls the line of scrimmage. Blake Corum running the ball. J.J. McCarthy hasn't really been like the superstar quarterback that he can be, but he makes plays when he needs to make them. Michigan has talent. Roman Wilson on the outside. Ohio State's led at quarterback by a Philly guy, Drew McCord. There's Kyle McCord. I said Drew McCord. Kyle McCord. Both teams really good. A lot of bad blood, though. A lot of bad blood. Michigan is, as I said, without Harbaugh on the sideline. That's a big story. They have Sharon Moore coaching them. I think Michigan's 3.5-point favorites, if I'm not mistaken.
Game is at Michigan?
The game is at Michigan, I believe, right? No. I think the game's in Ohio this year.
Wow, they're road favorites.
Am I wrong there, Kyle? Oh, I'm sorry, Tyler.
It's in Michigan.
It's in Michigan. Okay, yes, I apologize for that. It is in Michigan.
I'm going to say that the Michigan-Ohio State game has more points than the Eagles-Bills game.
Okay.
What would you have taken?
I probably would have gone with the same thing, especially because there's always the chance of an overtime in college when you can inflate points. Yeah.
Okay. Now we have to pick our golden eggs here, which means that those points will be worth 2. I'm going to go ahead and take the Josh Allen has more total yards than Jalen Hurts one, leaving you with Jalen Hurts has more yards per carry than Josh Allen. That's going to be my golden goose.
And
golden egg.
Refresh my memory on the best one that I took from you.
I think you could make a case for the Bills.
Okay.
Versus the catch gets overturned. If you feel strongly about the Bills having more sacks than the Eagles, you could take that one. Jalen Hurts scoring a non-sneak touchdown, you could take.
I'll go the Bills. That's a fun one.
All right. So Gabe Davis has a catch of 15-plus yards. Jalen Hurts has more yards per carry than Josh Allen. Jalen Carter outsacks Ed Oliver. The Buffalo Bills have at least 4 sacks. Jalen Hurts scores a non-sneak touchdown. Devontae Smith finishes with between 93 and 99 receiving yards. The Bills and Bill Belichick have the same result on Sunday, and the Eagles-Bills total points is more than the total points scored in Michigan-Ohio State. I have the reverse on that last one. A catch is overturned. DeAndre Swift has at least 113 yards from scrimmage. Josh Allen runs over or above an Eagles defender. The Eagles have at least 4 sacks. A.J. Epinesa outsnaps Brandon Graham. Josh Allen has more total yards than Jalen Hurts. And Julio Jones outtouches Boston Scott. Before we get to our Crystal Ball Eagle predictions, let me quickly tell you about FOCO, because FOCO is a leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise with a product line that includes apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, novelty items, and more. It's the best officially licensed gear for all sports and fandoms. It's football and tailgating season, so they've got overalls, hoodies, hats, sunglasses, bags, everything you need for a game. Foco has also hooked PHLY up and provided awesome pieces for our sets. Foco always has our back for Philly sports, and they have yours too. Get the best gear around by using the link in our description for all non-presale items. Use the promo code PHLY for 10% off. All right, Zach, we've reached the end of the line. Anything else to get on off your chest before you let us know what your prediction is for Sunday?
We briefly spoke about Shaq Leonard earlier this week.
Yeah,
Still
what do you
hasn't
think?
signed anywhere. I wouldn't rule it out for the Eagles. I think Nick Sirianni.
Was Nick asked about him today?
No, it was a very abbreviated press conference
Okay.
today. But I think Nick will give, the experience and the input that he has with Shaq Leonard. I think a lot of this could come down to what kind of role Shaq Leonard's looking for, right? And if he's looking for a scheme that he might be more familiar with. But if he wants, I think Dallas will certainly be interested in him. I think the Eagles, obviously.
Schefter said Cowboys and Eagles, right? Those are the two teams he name dropped.
Yeah, so I can see the Eagles making the play here. They're thin at linebacker. This is someone who, they have a background with. It certainly gives you Nicholas Morrow insurance. If it doesn't work, it's not gonna crater your season in any way.
If you're talking about Nicholas Morrow insurance, I think that's a good way to frame what they might be looking for.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. So that's why I could certainly see this being the case.
Okay. Yeah, I think worth a shot.
Yes,
but nothing that you need to really worry about. Nicholas Morrow insurance.
Nicholas Morrow insurance.
Okay. What do you got for Sunday?
So this is going to be a tough game for the Eagles.
Eagles are favored by 3.
Eagles are favored by 3. I believe the number is 48.5. And I think that, look, I wrote this on All PHLY the other day. After the way the Eagles played, you can't pick against them right now. I think they've earned the right. I don't love the way they're winning games. As I said, against Kansas City, the second lowest yardage total output of the Sirianni era. The fact that, Kansas City turned the ball over twice in the red zone.
Bless you.
Bless you. Valdez-Scantling, he drops a pass at the goal line. Things can go in a handful of different directions. But when you beat good teams as much as the Eagles are beating them, and they have good game plans, the Eagles earn the right for me to keep picking them. And I'm going to pick them until they give me a reason not to. And so I'm going to pick them this week. But this is not an easy spot. And I think Buffalo's going to be tough. And I think Buffalo's going to have a good game plan together. And I think Josh Allen's going to be tough to stop. And I think Diggs can really create some stress on the defense, especially vertically. So I'm expecting this to be close. I don't think this is going to be one where they kind of shut them out in the second half, although Sean Desai has done that exceptionally well. But I am going with an Eagles 26.
I was going to guess 26-23. Is that your pick?
26-24. Eagles 26, Bills 24. And I'm going to give credit to the Eagles offense here. I know Brian Johnson is under scrutiny, but A.J. Brown's been playing well. I think they're moving the ball, they're scoring points. They're not doing it at the same rate last year, but I think Sirianni said they're like a half point different in their average than they were a year ago. You would like to see them push into the 30s a little bit more, but I'm expecting a better game from Hurts from A.J. Brown. I think between A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, that will be the difference in this game. Both of them are near 100 yards, perhaps one of them over 100 yards. And as long as the Eagles don't have these costly turnovers and sacks are not an issue, the Eagles advance to 10-1 and continue their run to the number 1 seed.
Last week, I correctly predicted the Eagles to beat the Chiefs, as we all know. Those of us who watched the kickoff show.
Okay.
And
those of us who watched the kickoff.
And also read the back
email
and forth
exchange that we have.
Okay.
Yep.
So
which will come out on Saturday. Well, yeah, on Saturday, hopefully.
We'll see.
Okay. Maybe not.
You tell me when you want it to come out. So once again, I reserve the right to change my pick. You'll have to tune into the kickoff show, which starts at, I believe, 3:45 on Sunday with Jamie Lynch and myself and Zach live from Lincoln Financial Field. I think the Bills are going to win this game, and I'll tell you why. This is not die-hard analysis here. This is not giving you the keys to this game scheme-wise. I just feel it in my bones that next week's game, Eagles 49ers, is going to be, the whole talk is going to be about this is for NFC supremacy. And if the Eagles lose this game to the Bills, which they're playing on a short week, coming off the high of a big win for them, and having had that travel difficulty, going up against a desperate Bills team that is better than its record, this is the least important game, tiebreaker-wise, for the Eagles on the entire schedule, like from the post-bye. There are no common opponents here. So this is not one that they need. The Niners are coming to town next week, and if the Eagles have a one-game lead, and this is all of a sudden for like the one seed tiebreaker, I feel like that game is going to be all about that. And it's like they've got 2 games coming up now against the other 2 top NFC contenders. I just feel that in my bones. And so I'm going to say that the Bills win this game 27-21.
But he reserves the right to change his mind.
But I reserve the right to change my mind, so tune into the kickoff show to see if I, once again, correctly predict what's going to happen. There you go. You feeling good?
Yeah, I feel great. I love doing this show. We're an hour and 11 minutes into it. We're giving them extra time today.
Well, we had no show on Thursday.
Yeah.
So there we go. That'll do it for this episode of the PHLY Eagles podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We will talk to you on Sunday for the kickoff show and the postgame show. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your Thanksgiving leftovers. Compliments to all the chefs out there. And for Zach and Tyler and all of us here at PHLY, as always, we love you.